Zawolik News Network, where history happens.
Hello and welcome to ZNN. I'm your host, Bob Goodman. Today's big idea is about limits put on government power. In order to be able to do anything at all for the people, government needs the power to be able to fulfill these expectations. Today we will explore just how those thinkers sought to do that. How do I keep government from controlling me? I know how to keep the government off my back. I just stay off the grid. No paying taxes and no mailing address. Can't find me, can't control me. Oh wait, probably shouldn't have said that on the air. See ya!
Imagine that you and all the other students in your grade are going on a class trip to China. All the students board a plane, but your teachers have to take another flight. When you're flying over the middle of the Pacific Ocean, the plane's engines malfunction, and you crash on a deserted island. The pilot and crew parachuted out of the plane before it landed, but miraculously, all of the students survived. The island has enough food and fresh water on it for everyone, but after a week of waiting, it is clear that no one is going to come and rescue you. The lack of rules have created tension between your classmates, and you decided that a government is needed.
Now that you've considered what powers a government should have, it is important to consider how to prevent replacing a king with another tyrant government. Montesquieu believed that power could not be held by any one individual or group.
To prevent corruption in government, Montesquieu developed the theory known as the separation of powers. Separation of powers is a political doctrine where the responsibilities of the government are divided into individual branches. Each branch is limited from exercising the core functions of another branch. Montesquieu advocated that the power of the government be divided into three main branches: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. The intent of separation of powers is to prevent the concentration of power in the hands of one person or one group. Montesquieu wrote, "When legislative power is united with executive power, there is no liberty. Nor is there liberty when the power of judging is not separate from legislative power and from executive power." The separation of powers doctrine is spelled out in Montesquieu's book, The Spirit of the Laws, which is considered one of the greatest works of political theory and jurisprudence. Montesquieu and his writings inspired the French Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Constitution of the United States. America's founding fathers, especially James Madison, who is called the father of the Constitution, were heavily influenced by Montesquieu's theories. At the Constitutional Convention of 1787, Madison and the other delegates established three independent branches of the government: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial.
Now that we know a little bit about Baron de Montesquieu, we must ask ourselves, what is Montesquieu's point of view? What would he recommend for your deserted island government? Voltaire was another Enlightenment philosopher whose idea on limiting government became a very important, if not the most important, value in our American government today. That is freedom of expression, which includes the right to speak out against tyrant government. He very famously quoted, "I do not agree with what you have to say, but I'll defend to the death."
Well, sir, while I may not agree with what you say, I'll defend to the death your right to say it.
John Locke's social contract theory requires that citizens overthrow a government that is not protecting their natural rights in order to replace it with the government that does.
The government exists because the people allow it to. But what happens when the government becomes evil? What if a government tries to take away one of our natural rights? What if it denies us the right to life? What if it doesn't allow us to be free and explore and find new ways to be happy? No! What if they take away our right to property? Not to worry. John Locke believes that the community has a moral obligation to revolt against or otherwise replace any government that forgets that it exists only for the people's benefit. That means out with the old, in with the new, start from scratch with a better government. Why would he say something that extreme, that we should get rid of an entire government? Natural rights are that important, according to John Locke, and maybe some colonists.
It looks like their idea of limiting power was better than mine. I was thinking maybe I would go move to Canada to avoid the man. But, you know, it's Canada. Anyway, this is Bob Goodman signing off, and that's the big idea.